Hi there, I'm Vincent Boss and I provide dating and self-improvement advice. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing the fading effect bias. I provide audio and email coaching to help people try and get their ex back or get a new girlfriend or boyfriend. Check out my website for more details, www.dateme.tips. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. So now let's get back into today's podcast, and today we are discussing the fading effect bias. So the fading effect bias, also known as FAB, is a phenomenon, a theory, a concept that negative memories lose their value over time quicker than positive memories do. So let's just try and break that down a little bit more. So the concept of the fading effect bias is that over time, negative memories will lose their power, will lose their importance, will lose their significance sooner than positive memories. So if we are to think, for instance, if you had a negative memory and a positive memory on the same day, then if we was to look 3, 4, 5, 6 months into the future, the positive memory would still hold a lot of value in your mind, but the negative memory would have lost a lot of the value. Okay, so if you was to think months into the future, you would be able to go forward with your life a lot easier because the negative memory would have lost its value, would have lost its power, would have lost its significance. And this has a lot of relevance when we think of breakups and we think of dumpers and we think of dumpees. Because for a dumpee to try and get their ex back, they need to make sure that the dumper sees them as a high value individual. And if during the breakup or beforehand, and maybe that's why the breakup actually started to take place, if there was some negative interactions, negative instances, negative memories that the dumper might have and might have for reason as for why they ended the relationship, then the dumpee really needs these memories to lose importance in the dumper's mind. Because at the time, the dumper was obviously furious, the dumper was obviously very hurt, the dumper felt that these elements affected the relationship to the point of where they lost romantic emotional attraction. Now, for this romantic emotional attraction to grow again, the dumper needs to have lost importance in the causes of the loss of attraction. And this is where the fading effect bias really helps dumpees, because as time goes on, months and even into years sometimes, this is exactly what will happen. All of a sudden, when the dumper thinks back to the past, they won't necessarily think of the pain and the anguish, the frustration and the anger that they once did at the time because of a fading effect bias. So if a dumpee wants to try to get their ex back, they know that they need to be raising the level of romantic emotional attraction in the dumper's mind. And first of all, if there's been a big problem and a big incident, this is what needs to fade in their ex's mind. And that is exactly what will happen over time. Which is why I always suggest you use my version of a no contact rule if you've been dumped and you want to try to get your ex back. For more information on my version of a no contact rule, which does differ to other versions that you can find online, please subscribe to my podcast so you can familiarize yourself with my version of a no contact rule, as well as my theories, tips, hints and ideas on other ways you can try to increase the chances of one day getting your ex back. So going back to the fading effect bias, you might be wondering to yourself, well, why does this even exist? Like, why would this be imprinted in our minds so that negative memories fade sooner than positive memories? Well, there is a theory, and it goes back to the caveman days. It goes back to the beginning of human civilization. And the theory is that if you was a human, a hunter-gatherer, if you was a caveman going out to hunt, and you had a very difficult situation one hunt where maybe you got injured, maybe you was nearly killed, then when you come back that day, you'd be thinking to yourself, look, I don't want to do that again. I don't want to do that again. I nearly got killed. But of course, if you didn't do that, it's not like you could go to the supermarket. It's not like you can order a takeaway. That is why you would eventually starve to death if you don't go out and hunt. So the theory of a fading effect bias, some people consider it to go right back to the start of human civilization as an important tool in human psychology. Because if you're thinking of it like this, you need to be able to move forward from negative memories. Because if you're not willing to try something again, such as hunting food, if you was a hunter-gatherer, then you would starve to death. So over time, the memories would lessen in your mind. Now, from the research, they are suggesting that it really kicks in after a few months' time. So you're probably thinking, well, what would have happened in that situation if you was a caveman? You can't be waiting a few months because you would have starved to death. Well, of course, humans at that point would likely have lived in family groups. Now, please bear in mind, this is all theory, okay? Some people don't believe in the concepts. I'm very much a believer. I can very much see why this would be the case. But there are some people who question the fading effect bias and the origins of it in particular. So if we're to look at the theory that a hunter-gatherer has had a bad hunt, a bad incident, they nearly got killed, they've gone back to the home, gone back to the cave, gone back to the woods or wherever they was living, they won't be over that instantly and they won't want to go back out to hunt straight away. But by living in a family unit, there is a chance that other people could have helped from the community and done the hunting for a while. That is how, over time, it would allow the person to lose the negative value in the memory that took place to the point where they feel more comfortable to go out and try to hunt again for themselves. So the theory is that in the caveman days, if we're going to be very basic in our explanation of this, in the caveman days, that somebody who struggled with a hunting incident would go back to the community and other people in the community would support them for a certain period of time whilst they got through and managed to work through those negative emotions and feelings and worries until they felt like it wasn't as big a concern as it seemed at the time, and then they could go out and hunt for themselves as well. If you believe that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description.
Yeah, if you miss your ex, we can help with that. Help you get him back, or we can help find you someone else. Yeah, Vincent Bo, the relationship coach, giving you some insight, bringing you a new approach. DateMe.tips, go and check the site, giving you advice, helping with your love life. Get your ex back, or move to the next. Ain't no sweat, you know Vincent Bo got you. Finding love ain't no problem. Yeah, DateMe.tips, check it out now.